Now, did you ever think that your coffee machine from China could be spying on you? Well, it turns out, according to New Kite Data Lab analysis, it is possible, using software inside smart coffee makers to spy on owners of the devices. Internet-connected coffee makers that are made in China are just one of the many ways China can gather data. According to China expert Christopher Balding released a report specifically on the Calor machines manufactured in Jiangsu, China. But this, I think, is a much bigger issue than just coffee machines. So today's guest, Rex Li, a cybersecurity and privacy advisor and a tech journalist, has repeatedly warned about this. His recent work on China's unrestricted tech-based hybrid warfare, a concept of the war in the Chinese Communist Party strategy books, is being weaponized and boosted via high technology. And by connecting a device like a coffee machine to your phone, which they let you install a controllable app on it, it becomes a gateway to a treasure trove of information for the Chinese government. And data is a weapon. Data is part of China's warfare strategies today. Here's our previous discussion on this matter. Rex Li, thank you so much for joining us again on China Insider.
Thank you, David, for having me.
News that coffee makers from China can also be spying on you. How do you make of this situation?
Well, this is a problem with any connected device supported by the Android OS, Apple iOS, or Microsoft Windows 8, 10, or 11 OS. The problem is these intrusive apps enable the developer to take control over sensors such as the mic and camera on a smartphone, a tablet PC or desktop PC, a connected automobile, and what you hear are terms such as IoT or industrial IoT devices. These are all endpoint devices, and so are connected products such as coffee makers and so forth. So these products are prone to enable the app developers to monitor, track, and data mine the end user through the connected products as well as the apps that support the products.
And just to clarify, when you say end user, that's the person using the actual product.
Exactly. There's two ways to describe this. One is the product owner, but then there are other end users that can use the products aside from the owner. And it doesn't matter who's using the product. Developers are enabled to, again, monitor, track, and data mine the end user for profits. They're doing this for advertising purposes.
And how would you define the threat level here?
Well, the threat level, there's several threat levels associated with this. The main threat level that people don't see or understand is associated with unrestricted hybrid warfare. But there's also a subcategory to that, which is unrestricted tech-based hybrid warfare, which we're seeing being waged by countries such as China and Russia. And what they're doing is they're using major corporations as proxies, such as ByteDance, the developers of TikTok, or Tencent, the developers of WeChat, or any app developer. There's Android app developers like Baidu, which is the Google of China. They develop a lot of these intrusive apps. So what you're seeing is the Chinese government or the CCP, including nation-state hacking groups like app groups from China, they're enabled to utilize these intrusive apps and products and services in order to surveil and data mine the end user. Now, there's even a greater threat that a lot of these intrusive apps can also be used to enable the developer to launch attacks on networks such as critical infrastructure, utilities, nuclear power plants, oil refineries. And we're actually seeing this today, even especially with the utilities, the threat of shutting down a grid or disrupting services that's already happening. That's already in the news.
And talk to us a little bit about the state-sponsored actions, such as hacking groups or nation-state actors. How much of a role do they play into the tech-based hybrid, unrestricted hybrid warfare?
Well, they play a big role. And what people need to understand about unrestricted hybrid warfare, that is warfare without rules, where everyone is a target, including teens and children. Everybody's a target in unrestricted hybrid warfare. The philosophy of it goes back to Sun Tzu's Art of War. It's better to, subdue the enemy without fighting, which is one of the principles behind that. And utilization of intrusive apps and platforms and so forth to wage these type of attacks is one methodology that we're seeing today. So everybody's a target within unrestricted hybrid warfare. That's important for people to understand. The second threats become the fact that these are consumer products being distributed by retailers, as well as tech giants like Google, Apple, and Microsoft, who are actually distributing these apps and social media platforms within the Apple App Store or Google Play or Microsoft Windows App Store. So you're seeing the distribution of these and the proliferation of this technology through our consumer products and services, which is extremely dangerous. Everybody's overlooking this.
Does for example, the coffee maker situation, will that be a situation where all Chinese manufactured coffee makers are potentially Trojan horses type of situation? Or is it just one particular brand that they will use target?
No, all can be targeted. It just depends on the app developer. If there's a singular, let's say you have multiple coffee makers, but they all use the same app developer, because that's how you control these things is through the app on your iPhone. So you buy a smart coffee maker. It's not just smart and sitting there with a camera and a microphone in there. It has to be activated through an app. So you're seeing all these products and services that are supported by the apps. Now, one thing that it's the same thing with social media surveillance and data mining. Let me give you an example. A lot of people believe that when they're surveilled and data mined by Facebook or TikTok, it's when they're actually on the platform and they've signed into their account. That's not where most of the data mining and surveillance is coming from. It's coming from the TikTok app or the Facebook app that they downloaded on their phone, which gives the app developer the ability to monitor, track, and data mine the end user 24/7, 365 days a year, while enabling the app developer to collect over 5,000 highly confidential data points associated with the end user, personal, business, medical, legal, or employment information associated with their use of their device. So if they're using their device for personal use and business use, the surveillance and data mining is indiscriminate, meaning that they're collecting all of the end user's personal information and business information associated with the use of the device.
Are any of this legal?
Yes. End users, unfortunately, are clicking on the terms of use that support these products and services. A legal consumer contract a consumer has to be able to read and understand that contract before they buy a product or a service, and you can't do it with these terms of use. The other problem with the terms of use is they're broken up into two sets of terms of use. One is very visible to you, which includes privacy policies, end user licensing agreements, and terms and conditions. Those are published online, but the most important terms of use to the end user are actually hidden in the device in the form of application permission statements, application product warnings, and interactive application permission command strings that enable two or more companies to surveil and data mine the end user through a single intrusive app.